Welcome to Cup Chat with Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service. Today, join our Birding with Extension team members and guest Bryan Calk as they discuss Birding the Border 2023. Hope you enjoy.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Cup Chat with Birding with Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service. We have the new birder group of Texas A&M AgriLife Extension on today. I think this is the first time the three of us have come on Cup Chat.
Yes. Yeah, because it was Bryan and I at one point. It's been you and I most mornings. So yeah, this is the first time we've all been together.
The first time the new birding crew has been together. So anyways, don't forget to comment where you're joining from, the county and or state. We're happy to see all of you joining. Let's talk about the last 5 days that we have all had. So we've just finished birding the border. So that started last Thursday, yes, and concluded on Sunday. We ran 6 different birding experiences a day, afternoon programs, evening socials, and evening presentations. And I'm exhausted. I don't know about the two of you.
Yes.
But I guess let's open it. Let's talk maybe about the birds first, or do we? Okay, let's go. Have some methodical, because we can't just say all the birds first, because then everybody's gonna get off. But let's first say what our favorite part was of this year's program. So, Liz, I'll let you go first.
Oh gosh. Okay. Oh my goodness. I mean, I think I've said this before, but the birds, bats, and owls was amazing. It was a little on the windy side this year. We had some issues with tablecloths blowing away, but we got through it. The bats were amazing because it was so windy. Apparently the bats were just like, they were right there. There was a red-tailed hawk that came in and was feeding on the bats. It was absolutely fantastic. We did not get an elf owl on our birds, bats, and owls because it was so windy, but the bats were absolutely fantastic.
That's a good one. That's always something I encourage people to go out to. This might be a little cheesy, but one of my favorite aspects of birding the border ties right in with birds, bats, and owls. That's a benefit dinner that we hold one of the nights, and all of the funds raised for that go to our youth birding program, which if you follow us, you know that's where my heart is. So I appreciate all of the donations from everybody through our quilt raffle, through our loteria game, through birds, bats, and owls, through everything we did this weekend. The events themselves are so much fun. And I just really appreciate everybody donating to Rio Diablo Birding Camp. So I think that's one of my favorite aspects. I don't know if that's the kind of answer you were looking for there, Emily.
I guess we all get to have our own favorites.
Yes.
So my favorite part of birding the border, and everyone can laugh at this one a little bit, is I love it when all the trips come back. And getting to hear about everyone, what they saw, because I don't get to go out in the field anymore because I stay kind of at base and make sure everything's going well and all the flat tires issues get solved. And so, but my favorite thing is at the end of the trips, everyone comes just and congregates around the species list as the guides are putting up their stickers. And I think that's just such an interesting thing. And all the guides kind of hang around to see what everybody got. And so it's kind of a moment of reflection of the mornings. And so I super enjoy that moment. And so that's one of my favorite pieces of birding the border. But we did have a lot of great moments like that actually involve birds. So let's talk maybe about some of our trips that like we thought just went exponentially well. So Liz, do you want to share the one with your favorite bird in it?
Yes. So we had a couple lifers for our birding with extension program. The one I'm really excited about is we saw a Montezuma quail. I was like, I could not believe when we got a picture from, Romy was guiding that trip that day. So we got a picture from Romy saying that they saw it was a pair of Montezuma quail. I just like, I could not believe it. I think I squealed a little bit on the inside. But I think everyone else was super excited that we saw one. So that was that one. The other one that we saw, what trip was that? Oh, that
was on the Las Cienega
that
strip.
was on the Las Cienega strip, and that one was a lease bittern, right? A lease bittern. So that was super exciting. So we're gonna start keeping track now of our lifer birds.
Mhm.
So I need to hang up our little poster behind us so we can have that whenever we're doing cup chat.
Yes, yes. Bryan, what was one of your favorite trips or one of your favorite bird trip highlights? If you steal mine, I'm gonna be mad. I have mine ready.
Oh, okay. Well, I think this time, all of our trips are really awesome. I don't think you can really go wrong. But I was really particularly impressed this year with with how good Fort Clark Springs was. It was, we always expect to get the highest species total there. And that's where I grew up birding, so I know it really well, but it still can surprise you. And this year, our new guide, David, actually set a birding the border trip species record at Fort Clark.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So on his Fort Clark trip, including a couple birds they saw outside the fort, but still on the same field trip, I think they ended up with 101 species for the day, which is just awesome. And that's, we're just birding till 2 p.m. Well, we get back by 2, so it's not even that long. So that's pretty awesome for just a morning of birding, and just kind of shows how rich the birding is in that region. So
we had some really good trips, because even and I'm really hoping I'm not stealing your thunder, but the below the dam.
Oh, no, not that one.
Oh, okay. Even below the dam, we had, was it 83 species, I think, which blew our previous record away.
Mm-hmm.
So that was awesome. It was a good year for birds.
It really was.
It was.
We had awesome guides too. I think that has something to do with it.
Definitely
that has
helps.
everything to do with it.
So my favorite kind of, I guess, surprise to me was Romy led a big day Del Rio. And again, we bird from 6:30 to 2. And so it's really like a big morning Del Rio. But Romy literally never left the city. And so to me, that ties so much into Jennifer Bristol's talk about parking lot birds and birds being everywhere. And so they got 92 species on very few birding spots and birding areas, all in the city of Del Rio. They did not go out to get their species count. So I thought that was super promising and really highlights even in town, and kind of goes back to Jennifer's presentation about how we can appreciate birds everywhere, and it's something that can bring us together. We don't have to be, on Fort Clark or out on the Zuberbila Ranch somewhere far, far away. But 92 birds without even leaving the city. So I thought that one was cool.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, go ahead, Bryan.
I was going to say, well, and speaking of just within Del Rio, and you mentioned, Liz, the new lifer leased bittern out at Las Cienegas. I just think it's awesome that we have one of our guides there, Brandon, living in Del Rio, now having access to that property. And that's just, I think, going to be the first of many, many, many amazing birds that he's going to find out. I mean, they already found the Cape May out there too. Del Rio just has so much potential. And I think that particular property and Brandon in particular, all that combined, it's going to be amazing out there. So I'm just excited for that.
Well, and I really think he can find the seed eater there. I'm really hopeful that the seed eater actually lives there and that we can find him there.
Yep, that's one of my big hopes out there.
He needs to find a black-tailed gnatcatcher. That's his next goal, is a black-tailed gnatcatcher, so we can give away some stickers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Oh gosh, my birding the border. The sleepiness is coming on strong this morning. I'm not having coffee. I have decaf tea because my coffee pot is still My coffee pot is still loaded up from birding the border. I haven't quite unpacked yet.
I was gonna say it did end up in your truck, correct? Like I did not.
Not
Good
sure.
question. Okay.
I haven't looked
Okay.
at that. All right, so Brian, let's hear some of the bird highlights. We had 193 species for the 3 days. So I feel like that's an awesome total. Brian, give us the rundown of the birds.
Sure. So I think one thing that we highlight about this particular region, anytime we're out there, whether it's birding the border or something else, is where we are geographically located. We are like smack in the middle of the central flyway, but we also get eastern migrants and western migrants. And I think that was highlighted on one of my trips for sure, out at the Dolan Falls Preserve, the Nature Conservancy property. We were up by the cabins and we had a beautiful adult male rose-breasted grosbeak come in and just stunning. And that's a really eastern bird. We only get a handful of those in the region every spring. And then moments later, we were enjoying the falls. And then Ty goes, "Oh my gosh, there's a black-throated gray warbler." Everybody ran over there and got great looks at it. And that's a western migrant going the other way. I think that's a bird that only shows up in the region as a spring migrant every 5 years or so. So it was a really great rare bird for this time of year, especially. But just kind of showing the example of the variety of things that we see. But overall, some of the highlights being we, got all what I like to call the cardinality sweep. So we had, lazuli bunting, indigo, varied, painted, rose-breasted grosbeak, black.
Well, they had all 3 of the buntings on the Los Cienegos trip.
Yes,
all in one deal.
Yeah, that's pretty special there too. And just again, that property is just going to be amazing. What else was good? I think we had around 15 warbler species overall, which is great. Including like McGillivrays and ovenbird, again, kind of showing east-west. There's some other highlights. 10 species of vireo overall, which I always think is insane, our vireo diversity in the area. I mean, some of those are passing through, but I think that's always a fun highlight. And I know several of our groups had really, really good views of black-cap vireos, which is difficult to do, to say the least. So props to our guides for making that happen. Golden cheek warbler, I mean, we get that every year, but it's still just iconic. And we make a special trip out to a private ranch in Edwards County just for that, which is not just for that, I guess, since you happen to find Montezuma quail there these days.
Just a minor detail.
Yep. I don't know. There's 193 species. It was awesome. There's so many highlights.
Gotcha. Well, Liz, let's kind of talk about the evenings. And
yes,
sorry, my guys, my birding the border brain is just coming out strong today of tiredness and not just like powing. So let's talk about some evenings, activities, and socials. And so the first night we went to the winery.
Yep.
So Valverde Winery, the oldest bonded winery in Texas. And so we talked about extension and what it is. So a lot of birders come to our programs and don't know what Texas A&M AgriLife Extension is. And so we're thankful that we got the opportunity to share that. And then the next night we had our beer, birds, and baked potatoes sponsored by the Bennett Trust. I mean, if you really want to get crazy, you can say the beer,
birds, beers, baked potato, and brisket.
Brisket baked potatoes. So you can add the brisket in there. So Liz, tell us a little bit about that evening and kind of what happened and what we did. So
that evening was like, I feel like it's one of our best socials that we've had yet, because the decor was based off of our feature bird this year, which was the vermilion flycatcher. So everything was red and black. So we played Loteria. For those of you who don't know what Loteria is, it is basically it's bingo, like Mexican bingo. So instead of a 5x5 card, it's a 4x4 card. And we
It has
each square,
pictures.
yes, it was pictures. So we would call out, like you'd say northern cardinal, and then you had to be able to identify what a northern cardinal was. And you put a little pinto bean on it till you got bingo. And the nice thing about that is that helped us raise money for Rio Diablo. So it was $1 to play per round. And the winner of that round would, the pot would get split between the winner, and then the other half would go for the Rio Diablo. So I don't know how much we actually raised for Rio Diablo, but everybody seemed to have an absolutely great time. Our wonderful assistant, Danny Miller, put all that together. I don't know what we would do without her. I really don't.
We wouldn't. So we don't do without her.
We don't do without her. She had fun bird facts every single round. So that was great. And we had, like I said, we had baked potatoes that evening. We had beer. She made a wonderful cocktail called the Vermilion Flycatcher. It was just a great evening. One of our birding buddies made little vermilion cookies, Barbara Pankratz. Shout out to her for making, I don't know how many little vermilion sugar cookies. I wish I had one to hold up because they were
so cute.
They were so cute. They were absolutely fantastic. Oh gosh, I feel like, am I missing anything for that evening?
No, I think the neat thing about that was it was really centered around our feature bird. And
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about that. And we shared a little bit at the event about why the Vermilion Flycatcher was our feature bird. And fun fact, I got to choose the feature bird last year. So it was kind of one of those unique things where I wanted one that was just, that I thought was cute, because, birds can be cute. And he's just so cute and fluffy when he sits out on the end of that limb and goes out and catch flies and comes right back. He's easy to see. And the other thing that I liked about that was it was a bird that we should see at all of our sites. And so that every participant, and so we talked about the Birding with Extension family and how connected we are. And when you come to our events, how we want it to be, or come to our programs, we want you to be part of the family. And so it allowed, to me, it brought us together. The feature bird of a Vermilion Flycatcher, it was something that we all saw, we kept seeing, saw it on all of our scouting trips. And so it was just kind of this sign that it was going to be a great year. And so that's why I chose the Vermilion Flycatcher, not necessarily because it's just an extreme rarity in the area, but it was something that across 3 different ecoregions, 6 different properties, would bring all of us together as participants, and that would be something special. So that's why I picked the Vermilion Flycatcher. And it was neat to celebrate that at the social Thursday evening. So that was kind of, or whatever, Friday evening. So that was kind of my specialness.
Yeah. No, but then so Saturday evening, we had our big Birding with Extension dinner. We had, keynote speaker was Jennifer Bristol, who is the author of Parking Lot Birding. Her next book, Cemetery Birding, is coming out. And then she said that she's got another one coming out. So that was great. She shared some great advice that nature is not something that's hundreds of miles away. It's in your backyard, which I think a lot of us need to be reminded that we do have nature really close by. We don't have to go far away to get it. We had that evening, we had delicious pork chops by our caterer, Donna.
Bread.
Emily got her bread. She was very, very happy about that.
Yes.
So that evening was fantastic. We raffled off our quilts, which was donated by Connie Hope to help raise money for, like Bryan said, for Rio Diablo Birding Camp. Gave away some Vortex binoculars. Somebody was very lucky that night. We had one participant that won both the quilt and the binoculars, and I don't think she believed that it actually happened. But
Right.
she was very excited about it. Very excited.
Well, and I think the one thing that I liked, so let's talk a little bit about those winning the binoculars. So if you went to an afternoon survey session, you got the opportunity to be entered in to win a pair of Vortex binoculars. So Bryan, you led a beginning bird by ear at Las Ciénegas. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we went out to the same property we've been mentioning in Del Rio. And this was in the afternoon, so we headed back to the shade of some really nice big mulberry trees. And that's all of the places we went. We just sat underneath the shade of these mulberry trees. And we talked about how to listen to birds and the different tools that you can use to sort of dissect birdsong, as well as remember birdsong. So it's a lot to compress into a couple hours, but we did our best. And we got to practice on some very vociferous chats and flycatchers and things. But it was great. We got to kind of dive deep into it. But I think the folks there got to take away some nice little nuggets of info that I think should help them in the long run. But I thought it was really fun. It's a topic I like talking about. So it's something I hope we get to do again next year.
Well, and you're just great at birding by ear. And so very fortunate that you led that afternoon workshop. Another workshop that we had was the BASH program. And so I'm not going to even pretend that I remember what that stands for. But basically it is about preventing bird strikes in airplanes. And so our guide, Brandon Nooner, works for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife.
USDA.
He works for the USDA and works in conjunction with Laughlin Air Force bases to mitigate airstrikes with birds. And so super important job for many reasons. And I think that was such a unique presentation. Probably not, not super sciencey, but really cool. I mean, to hear about his job and what he does is so interesting, and the implications and how he uses all the technology that we are giving as birders, Birdcast and eBird, and being a great birder himself, he's been able to really mitigate the airstrikes there at Laughlin Air Force Base. So really interesting presentation on that day. And then the next day we had a plant party bingo. And so that was kind of fun. Liz, you sat in on that presentation. You want to share a little bit about the fun there?
I did. So Dr. Megan Clayton, one of our range specialists here with AgriLife, she went through and she had, I believe it was 25 different plants that we went through. She went through and said, told us how we identify the different plants. We learned our 3G plants, Wycon. Oh, I shouldn't have done this early in the morning. Wycon, Wyheel, and Granhenio. I think those were the three. Yep, that sounds about right. Those start with G's. So we learned about all three of those and the differences between those. And then we went around and played a couple rounds of bingo, testing our plant identification skills. And I will say some of those they're super tricky. I always have issues with Wycon and Wyheel. That's a personal struggle for me, but everyone seemed to have a really, really good time. She gave away some prizes. She had, oh gosh, what did she have? She had Sand County Almanac. She had a little plant party. I'm not actually sure what was in it. I didn't actually get nosy and look to see what was in it.
Some great prizes though.
Some great prizes, yes. And then we also had our own raffles that we gave away. We gave away some bird feeders and some bird seed and suet. What else? Oh gosh. What else? We gave away some Zeiss and Vortex gear. What was our Friday? I don't remember.
Birding with Extension cups. So great prizes.
Birding with Extension cup. We gave away some little mug rugs with some super cute little sassy owl faces on them, again made by our fantastic volunteer and birding buddy Connie Hoke. We have lots of prizes to give away. We always have prizes to give away.
Yeah, so that was fun. And then Dr. Frank presented on kind of how it's all connected. So agriculture and birds. I've been talking about some great work that she's looking forward to doing. So that was our very sciencey birding talk. So
and then we also had Craig Hensley talk about iNaturalist as well, which he gave some very helpful tips for me personally. And everyone else, like I said, they seem to learn quite a bit about iNaturalist too. So that was also another good talk.
So anyways, we're coming up on our 30-minute mark, and we are all still obviously a little bit dreary from the last 5 days. So Bryan, final thoughts?
Well, we already have our dates for next year. Is that a good final thought? I'm excited.
That is true. You can share that. Kind of stealing the big one at the end, but
well, I'll let you announce it. I have other final thoughts.
Okay.
So I think this year I was just so impressed with, I mean, not that it's a surprise, but how smoothly everything went. I just, as a guide coming in, and you know, I try to help out with other things when I can besides guiding, but it was just such an easy experience to show up and just get to do what I love and interact with the people and show everybody, you know, the birds that, you know, I grew up with and the places I grew up going to and the places you know, they're still some of my favorite places in the world to go birding. So, you know, you'd think however many times I take people out there that it would become a little mundane, but it's just exciting every time. And you just never know what you're going to see. So I had a great time just on a personal level. We had such a great team of guides also this year. I feel like we really killed it as far as finding
Yes.
Yes.
And buddies too, and the staff and just everything. I just thought it was just such a well run program. So hats off to you too. It's just really well done.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, Liz, final thoughts?
I mean, I think Bryan like hit the nail on the head with that one. I mean, overall, it went really well. Everyone was so complimentary of how much fun they had. And I mean, the weather, we didn't get any rain. It was a little hot.
A little warm.
But we didn't get any rain, which I think this is the first time in like birding with extension history that we didn't have any rain.
History.
So like I said, it was a little windy on some of our trips, but nobody blew away. We survived. We got through it. But yeah, I'm super excited about next year. We've already started discussing things for next year. And I mean, next year's, it's only going to get better from here, and I'm super excited.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. My final thoughts are, I really think that we accomplished our goal of having that experience and bringing together everyone as a family. I really could have done without the 2 flat tires.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a sore spot. But I think that why I bring up the sore spot of 2 flat tires, luckily only the participants were in one of the flat tires, and that impacted them for a brief moment. But the other piece of that is the resiliency and the get up and move and the we fix it. And we hope that those flat tire experiences and the wind experience and all of that is overshadowed by the rest of the memorable experiences everyone gets to make at Birding the Border, with great birds, great guides, great activities, great presentations. And so I hope, and I feel like we did accomplish that, not to toot our own horn, that everyone enjoyed the entirety of the program. And while we had a few hiccups here and there with flat tires, that didn't diminish the great time everyone had and the opportunity to get out on those private lands. I mean, think about it. We went on private land on almost every part of our trips. And every site except for Kickapoo, we went in restricted access areas that are not open to the public. And so to provide that experience for birders and to connect them with, especially on our working lands, connect them with the people who are making those lands functional and operating their daily livelihoods, like the Zuberbuehler Ranch, that just brings all of it together and makes birding with extension what it is. We're not about birding trips. We are about connecting birders with private landowners and showcasing birding on private lands and showcasing how our landowners and our managers work tirelessly to improve birding habitat on some of those places. So we're thankful for all of that. So that's my final thoughts. Now, Bryan, do you have your last final thoughts?
Do I get to say it now?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So we have picked dates for next year's Birding the Border. So we hope to see you at Birder Check-in on May 2nd, 2024. And we will run through the 5th, just like we did this year, Thursday through Sunday. And we will be in Del Rio at a venue TBD, all that stuff. But look for details in November. I think we'll have registration open November 1st. So mark those dates on your calendar, November 1st, May 2nd, and we'll hope to see you there. You don't want to miss it.
Yes, and challenging the guides to 200 species. They were so close this year.
So close.
Well, and we're hoping to have some new trips potentially. So we have that chance to do that, I think. I'm optimistic.
Yes, I have faith. So anyways, thank you all who are watching our recap. Thank you for those of you who joined and became members of the Birding with Extension family. If you weren't able to come this year, we hope to see you next year. Liz, tell us, are we joining next week on Cup Chat? What are we talking about?
I don't know what we're talking about next week. I haven't gotten that far. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
To be determined what we will be talking about on Cup Chat. We will give her a pass since, it was the last 5 days have been Birding the Border. So thank you, everyone. Have a happy Wednesday, and we'll see you soon.